Podcasting from Ohio, the Buckeye State. This is Married to an African. Being married is hard work, but try being married to someone from a different culture. It's like trying to turn around on a one-way street. So let me help you navigate around all the obstacles. This is your host, Dehadi C., a queen who fell in love overseas in Dakar. Now, years later, 2 kids, a bunch of jobs and ups and downs, we're all still here together. All right, let's get right back into it. How are you guys doing? I hope you had a great week. My week was excellent because I said so. Sometimes you got to manifest and affirm and confirm and then reaffirm, right? Okay, anyway, let's get into gender roles. All right, big issue that I had to deal with that I've learned from and still am learning from. And I'm pretty sure you guys can definitely relate. So, gender roles, what does that mean? It's basically the expectation based on gender. Now, some people are like, look, I'm completely open to understanding and shape shifting, adapting. And some people just aren't. Some people in their relationships want the man to do this and they want the woman to do this. So do gender roles break or make a relationship? You tell me, what do you think about that? Are they the make or break a relationship type of discussion or type of situation that happens in most relationships, especially relationships where there are 2 different cultures coming together, blending as one? So are you traditional or are you like fluid? Are you able to kind of give and take or not? One thing that I know that he and I struggled with was the expectation of dress. Okay. I grew up in the United States of America, where, in my home, women were able to express themselves openly and freely with their choice of wear. I've worn short skirts. I've worn long skirts. I've worn short shorts. I've worn shorts. Okay. You know what I'm trying to say. And so once I married my husband, even at a young age, he was like, hey, babe, I don't know about the short shorts no more. And I'm like, it's so hot outside. And I'm just being completely honest with y'all. It was a no for him. And so I did meet him halfway and say, you know what? When we are in Africa, I do as the Africans do. Do I still have me a pair of shorts? Yes, I do. Are they short? No. And that was my own personal reason. For my own personal reasons, once we, continued in growth in our marriage, I did switch that up a little bit. And that's my opinion, is my choice. Okay. I don't want to push or force any thought or way of dress on you. So also, I love wearing his culture's traditional garb. I grew up in the culture. My mother is very Afrocentric based, and so it wasn't abnormal for me to put on African garb. I prefer it. When we go to his country, I have a seamstress or a seamster. And is it seamster? Okay. And I have an idea of what I want to wear, and I will wear it. And I feel great and I feel confident in it. I feel great in African clothes or traditional African garb. And I also feel great in American, cultural, dresses, etc. I don't expect him to dress as an African American male. I expect him to dress in what's comfortable for him. And some days we will come to a party and I will look straight African American and he is straight up off the boat. Okay. Like straight off the boat. He is in his African garb with his jewelry. I mean, that's what he, wants to wear. And I don't say nothing about what he's got on, and he doesn't say anything about what I have on. The only time I say something to my husband is when he is multi, striped and checkered and spots and colors. And I know he comes from a culture that is vibrant and love colors, but I'm like, back now you starting to give me Where's Waldo? Like you're giving me a variety of things at once. And so I will say that to him. And he, most oftentimes he's like, okay, well, what do you think I should wear with this? All right. And I'm like, definitely we can't wear stripes and plaid. So let me help you out. But yeah, that's one thing. And gender roles, like I said, sometimes there's an expectation to dress. So definitely have that conversation ahead of time. Like, what is culturally appropriate when we go here, and what is culturally appropriate when we do this, and if your significant other doesn't like an outfit, maybe ask why before you be like, wear whatever the hell I want to wear. Ask why. Try to gain some understanding, because typically there is reason. Now, if they're just trying to, put their fist down or put their foot down, for lack of better words, then that's a no, right? You want people to feel comfortable around one another, but you also don't want to feel controlled. Another gender role topic is expected to cook. I know in the African culture, women are expected to cook, right? My husband loves to cook, so I'm blessed in that area. Like, he loves to cook. He thinks he's a chef, and his food is actually really good. If you were to ask my children, I think that they would be a balance. Like, mom's good food is good when she cooks blah. Daddy's food is good when he does this. Okay, so I didn't feel the weight of the expectation to cook either. And I grew up with home cooked meals. However, I did feel the weight of wanting to be like the women in his culture, where we have these meals that I slave over for 6 hours out of the day. And then I felt like there was this in my mind, I had this idea that he was going to be so happy about me cooking and seeing all the work that I put into it, and just really appreciate me because I was just cooking my ass off, right? And the answer is no. He still ate a bite and left, or he still, ate the food, and we might have gotten an argument, or later on we might not have. So the idea that you're cooking to please him, or you're cooking to receive some token of appreciation, it's a no. Not to say that they don't, but it doesn't always come with words. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they appreciate you, but I sometimes felt like I expected like this over surmounting occasion of, you did a good job, you know what I'm saying, like this. And that's not the case, because in their cultures, it's just expected for the women to cook. Like, it was good, thanks, you know what I'm saying? And because it's not of our culture, when we do things that aren't of our culture, sometimes we expect the ribbon, and it's not gonna come. Okay, it's not gonna come like that. It's come every time. So if you are into cooking those big meals and doing that every day, good. That's what you want to do, so you do it. But if you don't want to do it and you want to go hit up some fast food, you go ahead and buy that too, because understand, in our house, we eat fast food too. Okay, there's days when we do, and there's days when we don't, and he's accepting of both. And if he doesn't want to eat fast food, then guess what? He gets in the car and he goes and gets whatever it is that he chooses, or he comes home and cooks whatever it is that he chooses. And he will tell me, hey, we've had enough fast food for the week. Fine. But I'm a working person as well. And so when I come home, some days I don't want to stand over there over the stove and cook and cook and cook. I'm tired too. All right. Another one was the expectation to be strong and aggressive. Ooh, child. Because oftentimes women are the ones bringing men here, we're already operating in a very masculine energy, because we handling stuff, we taking care of stuff. And I just feel like a feminine energy is a little bit more gentile, okay, a little bit more fragile, a little bit airy, a little bit like take care of me type of energy. But when they're there, it's a lot of us taking care of them. And so you become more masculine, more aggressive, more bolder in your energy, and also in your approach. And then once they get here, it's like, you got to do this, you got to do that. You kind of like start to give like ground rules to your mate, and it's completely a turnoff. It was a turnoff to me when I was doing it, and it was a turnoff to him when it was being done to him. He was like, I'm the man. I'm like, yeah, but you don't know how to do this. And I mean, my dad didn't even know how to drive, y'all. I had to drive us. You know what I'm saying? Even when I was exhausted, even when I was pregnant, even after we had our child, because I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about it. Maybe some of you know my story, but I got pregnant within the first 30 days of him coming here, and it just wasn't enough time for us to get all that stuff taken care of. So in the midst of me being pregnant, I was also trying to be his driving teacher. It was a lot. And so, yeah, I had a very strong approach at the beginning of our marriage. And even though he was the man and he is the man in our marriage, I had to release that gender role or that expectation to hold it down, because I had been holding it down for so long, and I had to give it to him, and then I had to allow him, okay, to then become, the masculine man within our relationship. And it's give or take, right? There's times when I still have to do it, but I know how to communicate with my spouse so that I'm not offensive. But the expectation of how to dress, the expectation of how to cook or when to cook or if to cook, and the expectation of when and how to be strong are definitely some of the top major things that people struggle with in relationships that are culturally different, coming together to blend as one. And when things just don't go right, this can cause anxiety. This can cause emotional and physical stress on yourself, on your significant other, and on your relationship, which just looks like arguing, because when you're not conveying and communicating what it is that you need in a calm manner, it's not heard. I used to tell my dad all the time, you yelling means I heard nothing. Okay, I get we're all emotional when things don't go our way, when we're not being heard, when we feel lonely, when we feel unappreciated, but it doesn't matter. The same way as if I were doing this podcast and the entire time I was yelling. You're not listening. You don't hear me, And so there is an energy of having to be humble and having to adapt and having to have empathy even when you don't agree. Okay? So what is a woman's role? What is a man's role in a relationship of two people from two different cultures blending to become one? That is the question. Honey, what does it look like in your culture? Honey, what does that look like here outside of your culture? How much of your culture do you want here? What can we give and take? Same role with a man. Babe, here, this is what men do. How do you feel about that? Is that something that you're willing to do? Or maybe he is fine the way that he is, and you don't have a question or to question his role in your relationship. Okay, but again, it highlights the fact that the communication has to happen about gender roles if you want your relationship to work well. And it's always going to come up because the experiences are what are going to highlight what you like and what you dislike. So you have to welcome those experiences because they are so necessary. Now, lastly, some people just match roles. Some people say, you know what, I'm better at this, I'll do this. He's better at that, he'll do that. For instance, like I said, he likes to cook. Y'all, my husband even likes to clean. I'm not talking about clean. I'm talking about deep clean, like lifting stuff up, getting in the crevices. That's his thing. And sometimes I feel like, oh my God, like, let me do it. But that's his thing. And so that's what I mean when I say matching roles. And then there's some things that he's like, look, can you just do that? Because I don't, and I'm okay with it. But if I questioned it, I would question it. Okay. But I also know how to communicate. Okay, because that's a whole nother topic. Let me tell you, that's a whole nother topic. But I know how to communicate to get the job done, for lack of better words. So yes, in the comment section, what are some of the gender roles that you guys have dealt with, overcame, obstacles, etc., etc. I can't wait to reach out to you guys again next week for another hot topic.